So let's spin over here. I'm gonna use this as an example on FX replay. So let's say you guys come in and you guys take a trade. Let's say we just short right here, for the bump. We're just like fuck it, right? Let's say we short right here. Okay. Have a stop, like let's say here or some shit, and then a take profit here. Let's say your take profit's down here, right? And then let's just play it out, see what happens. Okay, you got stopped out, right? Let's say this was your trade and you got stopped out here, targeting here. Now, what you want to do is if nothing is going on in the market, you want to journal it like instantly. Okay? Because the reason why you want to journal it instantly is because that's when you're gonna like realize all your emotions and shit. So that's why we gotta do that now. So pull up. This is one of my data collection ones, and then I'll show you guys a my trade journal one. But basically, um, what basically the things that I mark out here, you can kind of ignore this one, is what was the additional time frame I was working on here. So in terms of um like this, I was working just strictly off the 1 minute, so I'd put no additional time frame here, right? And then for the condition, what condition was the market in, right? Is it reversing, consolidating, or trending, or do you not know? We'll put consolidating here because it was kind of consolidating here, right? You'll put your date, like what day it was, and what you entered off of. So I have a whole bunch of different ones I set up here, and you can kind of just do the same thing. What time frame you entered off of. This is a link to like a video if you wanted to do a video and record a session. Here's a macro if you entered in a macro or anything, what market you entered on, what month, if you took partials, where would that partial be? Um, and if you took partials here, if you pyramided in any of your positions here, when it was like the session, um, where was like your final, where were you taking things off here? Was it a win or not? And then what was the year? And here, basically, what I do is like this is like a video link, but basically what you'll do is you'll just copy like the link here, and then you can just plop it into here, and then it kind of like just uploads here, and then when you click on it, it'll like open up here, type shit, and then I kind of just have what went well, what didn't go well, and what you can improve on, and then that's kind of what this section looks like. And then basically my other one, where it's like my actual trading journal, is kind of similar here, and it looks more like this, and it would be kind of the same thing, like what asset did you take this on? What account did you take this on? Um, like the conditions, like the date. Same thing, except this time you have P&L. This time I have like what model I was using to take the trade. Same thing here. What was the macro? Here I have what was my mistakes, and you can kind of have that shown right there. Was it a win? What kind of weekly profile it was, and RR and the psychology. And then same thing for back here. Um, yeah, I think that's low-key all I needed to cover, unless there was something else that I should cover. Um,
I think that's fine.
I bet. Okay, now so I'll pass it over to Kyler
Um,
now.
yeah,
So first of all,
how do I show?
obviously, this is my template. You don't want to do your pair, so this trade was taken on UJ. So, and I have a bunch of different, columns here. But first of all, I'll start off by I want it'll be different because I don't trade like you guys. But in this section, this is where you guys would put your like whatever your 15-minute SMT, your 3-minute fair value gap. Basically, just every confluence that went into the trade that you took. So I'm pretty used to it because I'm very consistent now, but obviously, first of all, is this pro trend or is this a counter trend trade? It was pro trend for me. And then I'm just going to spam all this stuff. Obviously, this is what would be different for you guys. Um, but yeah, just all the confluences. It's pretty simple. External, internal, this is just this is another factor I like to have. It's not really necessary to the way I trade. But this was internal break. This was an internal trade. I'm not like, swing trading. It's more of like this would be external, whereas in my trade would be like in this area. long or short, speaks for itself. So not really difficult on this one. Session of trade. I trade Asia and New York. So what was this? This would be an Asia trade. And then here's where you put like, did you take it on your demo account? Was it a paper trade? Was it on your funded? I'll just click a random one, doesn't really matter. I also have if this trade was on a limit or not. This is something I recently implemented. I used to trade off reactions, but setting limits has benefited me so far. As for the entry model, don't even know why I have this. I trade the same entry model. And then result, what was this trade? 2RR. As for this is just an extra column that I have. This is sort of like a long-term profitability thing. Like a lot of my break-evens tend to actually hit a 2R take profit. So, you know, going for that lower RR can boost your win rate. As for the target, you guys can, this is where you guys would put your drawn liquidity, whatever you want to call it. For me, this was the bodies of the week high. So I'll just type that in. And stop loss, I see a lot of people just putting the pips, which I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I like to have an explanation of what my stop loss is covering. So I'd put 13. Oh, and then it covered all of the zone as well as the protected below. And then external factors, this would be kind of like your bias, your reasoning for taking longs. I'm just going to keep this one simple, say 4-hour bullish, 15-minute bullish. I spelled that wrong, but just ignore that. And then 3-minute order flow shift. As far as entry confirmation, this is just where you kind of describe what price did when you entered. So for this one, technically, I guess I would have been entered in at this initial reaction here. So I would just put game in about halfway into the zone before reacting. But it came back, so you're gonna want to include this. But came back and fully mitigated the zone before reacting. As far as the trade duration, kind of speaks for yourself. Depending what you're trading with, it might just tell you how long, but you can also just draw out an info line and add the little time thing to it. So this trade was 1 hour and 51 minutes. As far as risk management, just the what percent you're risking or how many contracts you were doing. So this trade was probably 1% risk. As far as the type of setup, for all you ICT fellas, this is where you guys would be like, you know, I don't know, turtle soup, whatever. I don't really know. But for me, this was a 3-minute continuation. Date, time for trade, you know, that's pretty simple. I'm not even gonna fill it in because I don't feel like it. Emotion psychology, this one's pretty important. You basically just want to give like an explanation of like why you like this setup, why you took the trade, and kind of like just how you felt. Like it doesn't have to be super deep. I don't even know, this trade was a while ago. I'm not gonna fill that out either. DXY fundamentals, I don't really use this anymore, but let's say like UJ was green, DXY was red. That would just mean the fundamentals for DXY is bearish for that session or whatever. I don't know why I have this. I don't use this, but this could be your guys' is like if you're doing SMT, your whatever. I don't speak that language, but the other pair, you could do a brief analysis there. As for the POI type, this is just my supply and demand. Like, is it an engulfing? Is it an inside var? For this one, it was engulfing. I only take engulfing zones now, so I mean that doesn't really matter. Fib level zone, this is something refined to my strategy. For this trade, the zone was within the 786 and 618 and 786. As for this one, I think it's important for everybody to have this. It's just another extra thing, an extra piece of data. It's where price reacted off your zone. You could draw it out like this. You can use a fib. It doesn't really matter, and it's just nice to know, like, did price just reject, like tap in and reject? Did it come for like a halfway and reject? Did it come for a deeper mitigation? I just think it's nice to have. This one came fully in, so that one. News aspect, this is if you're trading news, or not necessarily, like say you're trading a CPI day and there was a massive death candle over here, but your setup still came, you just put CPI 1 hour before the trade or after the trade. There was no news, so I'm just gonna leave that blank. High time frame, high time frame position speaks for itself. Your weekly outlooks, your daily outlooks. This is replay, so it looks all wonky, but I would just write 4-hour bullish, high in the leg. The next reasonable move would probably to catch a retracement down. Teachings, I barely fill this out unless I'm getting feedback on one of my trades, and you just, speaks for itself. Break even criteria, I don't know if a lot of you guys use break even, but this is just your reasoning for moving your stop loss to break even. So I have a set system. So for this trade, it would have been once price. Actually, this is a bad example for that, but let's just say it would be once price broke this initial high here. So that is my 3-minute internal break. As for this is just specific to my strategy. It's just, again, more of the confluences. And at the end, like Exotic did, I just take a screenshot of each important time frame. So I include the 1 hour, the 15-minute. Oh. Yeah, let's pretend that's the 15-minute. And then the time frame you took the trade on, which for me would have been 3-minute. DXY, don't even use. Don't know why I have this column, but yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I can send this template if you guys want it. Obviously, you're gonna have to change all of this stuff to suit the way you trade, but I think it'd be beneficial for anyone. Especially, like, even if I go to my actual sheet, you guys can see, like, when I first started this strategy, very, very, very inconsistent. But as I get lower and more recent, you can see it's just the same things repeating over and over and over again. I think this really helps with building consistency and boosting your win rate. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, let me also add something. Let me screen share real quick. You have but this
you gotta
this is
stop
like
screen
pretty
sharing.
much the exact trading template that I have here. And something you guys can do really easily is when you add a new trade here, right? You can fill your stuff out. And what actually happens is that when you start filling out this data here, and I can send this exact thing here, is that when you see your account here, right? Let's see you're live 50K or something. It was on a Friday, 15-minute time frame. This was the thing. This was your bias. Your bias was neutral. This was your pair. This was the type of trade you guys did. Was it a win? Yeah, it was a win. When was the year? How much money did you make? Right? The month and your model, right? And then over enough time, here's what it shows kind of in this here, right? It'll show you kind of, I have it so that it shows my win rate on every single pair here. So every month you can come down and look at how you've done. Like, what was my win rate here, right? You can just like duplicate it for every month, or you can just have it going on continuously forever. Right, you can have it. You can see your win rates on all these different time frames here. How many trades you've taken on all these different time frames to see which is your highest win rate. Same thing here for the weekly profile. You can see. Same thing for here. When are the days that you're winning? Like, are you winning the most when you're neutral or whatever? Your trading conditions. Are you winning when price is trending, when price is reversing, consolidating, or it's not known? You can see your win rate there. You can see your win rate on like the macros and stuff, your win rates on here, your yearly win rate and your win rate for every month and every single day, and then same for your win rate when you feel like whatever your psychology is, and then also the amount of trades you've taken depending on these mistakes here. And eventually after enough data, right, like after enough logs, you'll kind of be able to pick up some things like, okay, yeah, this was a loss, like I lost $100 here, right? And then now, and then you can kind of understand now that, okay, you know what, I have a 0% win rate when I'm trading on a 30-second on Mondays, uh on consolidating things, right? And after enough data and time, you guys will kind of have like a good idea on exactly what what's going on. Yeah. All right. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah, well, one more thing I just want to say is I recommend to anybody who's like just learning or demo trading, I recommend collecting at least 50 trades on a demo, whether it be paper trading, however you want to do it. 50 trades of data before you take on live, and you will see your results just instantly. Not instantly, but it'll be so much easier for you.
Beautiful. Well said.
W.
Thank you, Exotic. Thank you, Kyler. We could go over why data collection is important, right, and why we do it.
Well, why we do is to find out what our edge is in the market, basically. Right? Everyone has a different edge. Everyone does better doing different things, and you kind of just have to find out what you do best, and kind of just stick with that. Like if you find out after your data collection that you dead ass just can't trade Mondays, or you dead ass can't trade the 15-minute time frame, or you dead ass can't trade reversals, or whatever you guys find out while you're doing your data analysis, then you just don't take those type of trades, and you just wait until you're able to find that setup that you're able to consistently hit.
Yes. Kyler, anything to add on to that?
Michael just dropped a flippin' made me think question.
Oh, did he? Hold on.
Why
you
is
know
it
what? I wanna
important to
check.
be consistent with data collection in your personal strategy, and how has it been effective with you?
You want to answer that first, or you want me?
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I guess I'll answer that. Why is it important to be consistent? Well, it's important to be consistent because kind of with everything, the more consistent you get, the better you're gonna get. So the more consistent you are at collecting your data, the more you're gonna see the same patterns repeat in terms of your setup and the same mistakes you're doing, and that's gonna help you kind of narrow down exactly what your problem areas are and what areas you kind of excel at. And in your personal strategy, how has it been helpful to you? Well, it's been helpful to me, specifically in terms of understanding where I do wrong and when I do wrong, right? Like last year, my December trading was low-key terrible, so that's why I switched to demo trading for most of this December already. And definitely a lot of other things when it comes to like stop loss placements. Like I used to try and mitigate my stop loss by putting it at the bodies of the candles, and I realized that over my data collections and my losses, that it low-key didn't work out so well, and it's better to put it at the wicks, at least for me, the way I trade. So I've started doing it on the wicks and stuff like that. You kind of just kind of get to understand a little bit where your problems are and kind of how to improve on those issues.
Yeah, building consistency. Like, if you're doing the same thing over and over again, it's easier to know what you're doing wrong if you do lose a trade, but it's also easier to see what's working for you.
Yeah, and it's good to know, you actually like it's good to when you lose a trade and you know it was a good setup that pretty much ticked all your boxes and you still lost. Like then like you're not gonna be like that pissed about it.
Exactly.
At least that's how I think about it.
No,
Like when
I
I take
agree
a
with that.
trade,
Mhm.
when I take a trade that checks pretty much almost all my boxes and I lose it, I get off the charts and I'm happy with that. That's my setup. I didn't do anything wrong, it just didn't work out in my favor.
For sure. Michael with another banging question.
Yeah. So at the end of the week, I would kind of just go through all my I'll go through all my trades. I'll do basically what I used to do in Outlook, where I kind of just mark up exactly everything that happened during the day with hindsight, and then and then with that, after a good secondary review, and after having that hindsight, you're kind of able to know, okay, well, this is where I went wrong with the hindsight, and that kind of helps. Um, I guess that kind of helps.
Yeah, I mean, Michael, with that question, you know my answer to that. Like, Michael introduced something to me that I now include in my data, but I went through all my other trades and I looked through my winning trades, I looked through my losing trades, and I realized like almost all of the winning trades had that one thing that he introduced me to. And so, yeah, I think it can be beneficial to look through because that's a really strong confluence for me now. How often? I rarely, unless like something like new is introduced to me, I don't really go through and like filter out. What do you mean revisit it? Like just look through my trades? Um, I don't know. I just kind of do it when I'm feeling like it.
I don't really look through my trades that much, but the way I have my journal set up makes it kind of easy for me to see with like the win rate and stuff. So maybe once a month or
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice to look back at the old trades and like some things I didn't have marked up, but I can see them. I'm like, oh, okay. This
Yeah.
leg was mitigated, even though I didn't think about it like that back then.
The journal setup, yeah, I could. Yeah, let me see if I can share that.
Yeah, we can get that covered later after we're done.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it into template, so I'll figure that out. I'll send it sometime this weekend.
But no, I think we're done here with the recording. Thank you once again, Exotic Kyler. I hope that covers why data collection is important and why you should incorporate it. But let me end the session now.